all day, every day. Been a rough afternoon. Very rough afternoon. To say that I lost my cool would be an understatement. Would be an understatement today. I want to talk so much about a problem I'm having, but I don't want to. I don't want to put it out there. Because I punish myself enough for the subject at hand. Pardon me. And it's lovely that this is what I have to do around my house because my neighbor over there has so much junk piled up catching water. See, around my house, I go every couple days and look for standing water to try to stop the breeding of mosquitoes. So I have to put this poison on me every day that I can't stand because, for one, I can't breathe. For the second thing is, I don't know if there's just something about me, my body chemistry, but this stuff is like putting myself in a full body condom instantly. Like right now, my body temperature already went up 2 degrees. That fast, it's like my body cannot breathe because of this poison. I go around my property every day and look for standing water. And if there's standing water and I can't get the water out, then I take bleach and put in it. Just since my lawnmower, you guys, if you haven't been there long, boy, did you see the comment from the douchebag in the comment section from last night? Nobody's after you. You're crazy. You need to get help. Here's the plane, making its second time since I started recording. Here it comes, made the round. Right down the middle. All day, every day, all day long. Salt Air Leasing. Anyway, my lawnmower got stolen. My $10,000 Toro Z Master, 60-inch cut, Pico long vac. I made almost $1 million with the last Toro that I purchased, and this was a new one because my equipment got stolen before that, and then it got stolen again. So today I go out and I only have a few things left from my business that wasn't destroyed, and a few things were these Husqvarna weed eaters. These are the best weed eaters on the planet. I've tried every weed eater there is to try, and the Husqvarna is without a doubt the best. Steels have more power, but when you're weed eating, trimming, top trim, stuff like that, you don't need all the power that a steel has. Steels are good. They don't crake as good, and they're very, very heavy. They're about twice the weight as a Husqvarna. Husqvarna is the best the easiest to work on, easy to maintain. You can leave that thing out there for 10 years. Literally, I have had Husqvarna weed eaters 10 years old. Went out there, put fresh gas in it, fired it right up, not a questions asked. But I go out there today, and in every one of my weed eaters, the bulb has been broken. All in 3 different weed eaters, not just one, but 3 weed eaters, the bulb has been broke. Like somebody just went in there and yanked on the bulbs to tear them apart. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that to you. That's your imagination. Hey, you're just, no. Who would go after you? Too hot today to get much done, so I didn't. So I didn't get out here till just a little bit ago because it's so hot. Got the trailer back apart because, you know, that's what unemployed guys do. We work on stuff all day. I got to put the new standards on. I got to go help my buddy tomorrow set some traps for some critters, some varmints. I'm going to learn some trapping skills tomorrow. Been a rough afternoon for me. I'm going to touch on this just a little bit, but try not to go too deep. into all of it. I'll just show you. The trolls in the neighborhood, trolls or gang stalkers, one of the two. This isn't a gang stalker thing. Gang stalkers don't really steal many things. They'll steal things that you don't even recognize is gone until you recognize it's gone, and then it'll show back up. But like money, like big amounts of money missing, that'll never happen with a gang stalker, it's unless they hit your bank account, and they like to hit bank accounts. But they'll take things and then it'll just reappear. I went through a phase when I had my flags out front that somebody was ripping my flags off my flagpoles. So I made a booby trap, and I made a booby trap out of wood with nails in it. See all those nails in that piece of wood? And it was pretty much effective. Pretty much effective. So today, I go to crank up my weed eater, which wouldn't crank because someone ripped the bulbs out of them, took it apart, spread a little goo in it, a little gas in it to get it going. Got it cranked up, started weed eating the front, and I found where I'd laid the trap. And I said, well, I don't have any flags up anymore, don't have to worry about it, don't need the liability. So I picked it up and looked at my son. I said, here you go. Threw it down there at his feet. I said, take that around back. So I just go and weed eating. Didn't think anything else of it. While I'm weed eating, I look down, and as you see all the gravel here, boys will be boys. And when they ride their bikes, which is always detrimental to my health, is when my son rides his bikes, is he'll go down there and slide his bicycle, slinging rocks all through my yard. So after I said to get the board of nails up, I said, get a rake and get the rocks out of the yard. I weeded what I could till the weed eater finally quit because it didn't have a bulb on it because the bulb was ripped off. So I take that around back and I check my phone because I put a word out to my buddy about seeing if he has a bulb. He works on small engines. He said he had a bulb, so I went over to his house. I got ready to go to his house to pick up a couple bulbs that he had. You can only imagine what happened next. I'm backing out the driveway and I hear something hitting my bumper. I stop and I pull forward and I hear something hit my bumper again. And I look back and there's wood in the road. Notice how I moved from around the back to the side of the house and now it's changed course? See how that happened? Yeah. When I move, it moves. So it has a visual on me. So when I backed out into the road, 3 of those nails were stuck into my tire in my nice, beautiful Cooper Cobras that don't have many miles on them. Plug 1, plug 2. It had another nail going straight through there like that, and how it didn't make a hole, I will never know. But that's the extent of my day. It's hard being a stepdad. I mean, being a dad wasn't that hard. My daughters were great, man. They're smart, intelligent, quick-witted, never gotten into trouble. They're just good kids. They were always good kids because they knew they had me to deal with. They were a lot smarter than their mother, I'll give them that. But this boy here, I've never, wow. And it's hard being targeted because my son knows that if he does something wrong, he can just say, oh, the gang stalkers did it. And that's why I'm so careful about what I put on the gang stalkers and what I put on anyone else. That's why I try to find the plausible reason why something happened. Just like last week, somebody wanted me to blame my welder on the gang stalkers doing it. Well, the gang stalkers, you know, they're the ones that did it. You know they did it. No, I didn't know that, and I wasn't going to say that. Come to find out, I took my welder to the welding shop, and is it possible the gang stalkers messed up the trigger mechanism? Yes. Is it probable? Maybe. But I can't definitively say gang stalkers destroyed my welding, the lead on my welder. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to blame it on something that doesn't deserve that. That's like going to jail for a crime you didn't commit. Why in the world? I mean, I understand that's what the feds do, is they bust your ass and they throw so many charges on you just so you'll plea bargain, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life in jail, and ain't nobody's got the money to go against the federal government, because the federal government has a 98% conviction rate. Why? Because they say, here's your life, and we're holding it. Just give us 2 or 3 years, or we'll take it all. And whether you're guilty or innocent, you'll say, okay, here's a couple of years, and then you go to jail. That's what the feds do. The power of the federal government is immense, and anybody willing to stand up and fight it, you better have money, or you better have a lot of publicity. Just like everything's going on with the January 6th BS going on. It is sad what those men and women are dealing with. It's sad what Ashley Babbitt went through, having the back of her head blown out. That was cold-blooded murder. But we're not allowed to talk about that. America's fallen. And I keep telling people that, and just like Mark Dice, you guys see Mark Dice on TV. He always makes these funny videos or these serious videos about how evil is, and he's like, we're just going to be a red wave, we're going to crush them in the midterms. This is a guy who followed Alex Jones in exposing the Bilderberg Group and how they worship Moloch, all that stuff. He followed. He wasn't the leader in that. But here he is, another part of the controlled opposition, telling us that we're going to take it back in the midterms. Nothing going to change it. Rhinos like John Cornyn from Texas, Dan Crenshaw, all these guys, they're taking away your pew-pew rights with red flag laws. The Supreme Court has already deemed those to be unconstitutional, but they're going to do it anyway. What I tell you, they're going to take them, and you're not going to do anything about it. Resistance is futile. So, speaking of my kid, I love him. I cry some nights. I lay here late at night, and I just cry to myself because I hate sounding like I'm bitching all the time. I hate bitching all the time to him about the dumb stuff he does. It's just hard to be a dad. And these dads out here that are patting their little, oh, you can go to timeout. Those dads aren't spending time with their kids. They're not doing what they need to do to raise responsible young men. The timeout generation is the ones that's coming into power right now. And you see what's happening with the timeout generation. They're spoiled freaking brats, and they have no discipline at all, and they think the world owes them something. They're all entitled pansies. All day long. All day long. Excuse me. So it's rough. It's rough being a. I'm not a stepdad. I've been here all along, and I'll be here. It's hard to be a dad because you see how your dad, and if you had an abusive dad like I do, you want to make you don't want to make the same mistakes that your dad did, but you have to pick and choose what he was doing and what was his motives. Was it his motives right, but his the way he went about it wrong? You got to make those decisions. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So you got to decide, hey, this is wrong. I have to go about it a different way, get my point across. And my dad was very abusive, and I'm not going to be that man. But then when you get in that neutral ground and saying, I'm not going to go beating on my young, and then you get in the passive part where the child needs discipline. You don't want to whoop them, you don't want to beat on them, but then you just end up yelling. And I'm not one that yells and screams. I hate yelling and screaming. My fiance that was murdered by this program, she would sit at the back of the house and scream at her daughters in the other side of the house, and I'm like, God, stop screaming at the poor girls. And then it just, every kid deserves a different response. And it's hard to do the right thing, especially when this kid has seen the worst of people. He sees this program for what it is, and a lot of things are done to him in this program are done to me to blame him. That's why I've got to be very careful about what I say and do and how I go about it, because this program tears families apart. I didn't know this till after I got separated from my ex-wife. But I had several people come up to me and say, there's another guy going around town that looked like me, and I actually got a picture, looked like me, wore my uniform, wore my company shirts I still wear today, wore khakis just like I wore and wear 10. I had a whole wardrobe disappeared from my home, just disappeared. And this guy was going around town to all the places I went. When I would leave the bar, this guy would show up, if it was a bar that I didn't frequent often, and pretend to be me. And he'd go out, and I'm not joking, it sounds crazy, but he would go out and mess with all these women, and then give these women my phone number. So, and then would get it back through the grapevine to my ex-wife and all her family. Oh, Chandler's cheating on you. He's doing this, that, and the other. And I'm like, what in the world? And I kept wondering, why do I keep getting accused of all this crap when I'm not doing anything? Now, I did my fair share of bad deeds. But if I was doing as much philandering or floundering, whichever way you want to consider it, as I was being accused of, my God, I wouldn't have had time to breathe. But I got a picture of the gang stalker on my Facebook. I did. At a monster truck show, one of the off-road challenges up in Marion. It's just, I don't remember having a normal life. I have forgotten what it was like to wake up and not to have to worry about my life being hijacked. I don't remember it. My life has always been difficult because I've been a targeted individual my entire life. But I just don't remember when I woke up and said, you know what, I know I'm going to get a fair shake today. I could have been retired right now. My house would have been paid for, 10 acres of land, and God knows what else I would have accumulated. I mean, at 32 years old, I already had a house, 10 acres of land, an 18 by 52 foot garage, 5 Harley Davidson, and things are no judge of a man's character. So don't think that I'm saying that. I'm just saying that I had everything that I wanted in life. I had it all. And this program took it all away. Just like that part of a motorcycle in there. I had it all. And this gang stalking program took it away. Like it does other targeted individuals. It is so disgusting and so unfair. And nobody's going to stop it. The people that try to speak out eventually are murdered. And the best way to murder somebody is to have them kill themselves. And that's not going to stop either. It's going to keep happening. Maybe it'll eventually stop once they take all the defensive measures. Once they take all the guns, maybe it'll stop then. I doubt it, because then they'll still be wanting to assassinate people. And the way they do it is to get an innocent person, hit them with MK Ultra mind control. I saw something about MK Ultra mind control last night when I was watching TV, and I can't remember what it was about. And it was talking the same lines of this program, just like when I tell you, all these veterans committing suicide today. The suicide rate wasn't like it was after World War II. And those guys in World War II, my grandfather, they saw horrible things in World War II. But those guys didn't come home and kill themselves like the veterans are now. Why do you think it's happening? Because they're trying to kill them off. They don't want anybody that's going to stand up when it's time to stand up for the country. They don't want them to take that training to stand up against the United States government. They don't want them to stand up and defend our rights as free Americans. And then you got somebody like me that knows the game they're playing. And I'm doing my best to warn you and tell you. And all people can do is mock and ridicule. I guess what they say is people beg for their own destruction. You guys are begging for it. Unfortunately for you, you're going to get it. Not by my hands. But the government's coming after you. And you ain't going to get away. It doesn't matter who you vote for. You're going to get the destruction. It is coming faster than you'll ever imagine. And I'm Syrup Headline. See you.